Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today I want to talk about why I'm giving Star Wars Resistance a chance. Now, Star Wars Resistance is the latest cartoon in the Star Wars canon that has been introduced to fans. Now, the purpose of this show is simply to gather the next generation of Star Wars fans, right? It was started with Star Wars Clone Wars, it's then moved on to Star Wars Rebels, and now with Star Wars Resistance. Each time they've introduced a new show, they've tried to gather new fans. And each time they've introduced a new show, they've also garnered a lot of kind of hate from the original cast of fans. Star Wars The Clone Wars, if you look back and check out the original fan reviews of that original movie, the movie, right? It's like 93 minutes long. It tanked. People hated it. But then if you compare that to the actual television show, it doesn't even compare. People loved the show. They hated the cartoon movie. Same thing with Rebels. That opening season tanked. People did not like it. They did not care for it. And what's interesting here is we're seeing the same kind of thing, or at least the same type of hate expressed online. Now, you have every right to your opinion. If you don't like Star Wars, any of those shows, totally understand it. When I first watched Clone Wars, it was hard for me to get into. When I first watched Rebels, I really didn't like the animation right off the bat. Season 2 and Season 3 and Season 4 all kind of changed my opinion on that. Star Wars Resistance is still within that same vein. It's right at the very beginning. We haven't yet seen the second half of the first season. So the reason I'm giving it a chance right off the bat is still in the first season. The other shows took a while for them to get their legs, but once they got them, man, did they really go with it. Star Wars Resistance is taking its sweet time building up to the drama, but I think once we see the drama started, we are really going to see some awesome things in play. Now, another reason that I'm giving Star Wars Resistance a chance is it was created by Dave Filoni. Now, for those of you who don't follow the Star Wars cartoons, you may not know who that is, but Dave Filoni is the person who brought us Ahsoka Tano. He is the person who gave us Star Wars Clone Wars. He is the person who gave us Star Wars Rebels. He is also part of the group that's creating The Mandalorian, and he's got a bigger and better role with each subsequent project that he's been working on for the Star Wars universe. And I am excited because I really love the characters that he's created. I love the ideas that he's implemented. And I think he is going to take this show in a completely awesome direction. I am very, very excited for that. Star Wars Resistance follows the life of Kaz as he is on the Colossus trying to uncover some First Order, chicanery, some First Order problems and their plot. What are they up to? And what's interesting about this is he is very bumbling. He's very awkward most of the time. There's been a lot of little silliness going on, but towards the end of the first season, towards the end of the first half of the first season, we have gotten quite a bit more character development. We see a deeper connection between him and his crew. We see his pit boss, you could call him Jarek Yeager. From the Clone Wars, he fought on Yavin. There's a lot of really cool stuff, really cool tie-ins that go back to other areas of the canon. And that's one thing that I'm really excited for and really excited to see because there's a lot of really neat stuff out there that connects this story to a lot of the other ones. This is meant to serve as a prequel to Episode 7 with the hate that Episode 7, 8, and 9 have already gotten, specifically with Episode 8. What I think this is going to do is elaborate on a lot of the problems that people have with those areas. Specifically, I think that we're going to see a deeper understanding of characters like Luke Skywalker. I think we're going to see a deeper understanding of the rebellion or the resistance at the time. I think we're going to see a deeper understanding of the First Order, where it's come from, what it's been doing, what it's been up to. If you look at the mid-season trailer, there's a lot of things that give me hope. And the first thing that gives me hope and the most important thing that gives me hope is what they're doing is they're taking this show and they're taking it to a much darker place. With Star Wars, Clone Wars, with Rebels, that darkness, that danger, they're upping the stakes. That's what saved the shows That's what saved those shows. And I think it's what's going to save this one. Now, season 1 is a prequel to episode 7. It's meant to kind of set up kind of what the First Order is doing, how they're approaching it. And now that we've seen the second half trailer, the mid-season trailer for season 1, there's a lot of really cool stuff in the works. One, we're going to see some remnants of a Starkiller based test. Right off the bat, in the very introduction of the mid-season trailer, you see Poe and Kaz flying around this devastated system. And Poe says, hey, why is there not a star here? There's planets, but no star. Well, we know, right? We see the growing threat of the First Order. We also see how they're taking over different areas, different systems. We know from the first half of the first season that the First Order is very interested in the Colossus. Now, that's the station that Kaz and the whole show essentially takes place on. And we see that growing threat as menacing. And I think what we're going to be seeing in the second half is the First Order taking more of a menacing approach to the crew, the main characters of the show. One of the highlights for me of this mid-season trailer was the speech from General Hux. That moment when Hux gets on stage, it's awesome. It's a really cool moment. And then he blows up, Hosnian Prime. Now, for those of you who don't know, forgot, the main character, Kaz, is from Hosnian Prime. Kaz is going to witness the destruction of his own planet. Very much a Princess Leia Alderaan moment. It is going to be something that's going to motivate this character to be more serious. Now, how do we know he's more serious? He gets a haircut. Now, in all Star Wars cartoons, when a character does something with their hair, they become more liked, more intense, more, acceptable. Ahsoka Tano grew out her leku. Ezra Bridger shaved his head. There's a lot of really cool moments. Kaz has got the, goes from the, kind of the poof here at the front to the down sloping. I think that's what we're seeing here is a haircut transition. And the last two things are actually really interesting. One, there's this really quick shot of a ship flying over something. That seems to me, and it looks very similar to what we saw from episode 7 and episode 8 in the Force flashbacks of Luke's Jedi Temple. It may not be the case, but it gives me that vibe that that's what they're looking at. Now, I do think that is also connected to those planets that were destroyed. That could be Kylo Ren's work having destroyed Luke's Jedi Temple. Very possible. Not necessarily sure. It's kind of a speculation. It's out there for sure. But that would be kind of neat if we see that. Now, the last thing is here in this shot here, we see a shuttle very similar to what we saw Kylo Ren showing up with in episode 7 as he was trying to get the information from Lor San Tekka. Very similar to what we saw in episode 8 as he's about to stand off on Crate. I think it's very possible that this could be the same ship that we see Kylo Ren. This could be his personal shuttle. If that's the case, it would be really neat to see Kylo Ren take an active role in this show, especially considering that we already have Poe Dameron and Captain Phasma voiced by their respective actors. It would be cool to see Adam Driver come on and actually voice Kylo Ren. Whether that's the case or not, time will tell. We will see. Now, I'm very excited about this. I have enjoyed Star Wars Resistance. I know that it's not for me. It's not meant for my age group. However, I have enjoyed the storytelling for a lot of these episodes. They're fun. Most of them are pretty simple, but I think they're going to start getting more and more complex. That is why I'm giving the second half of the first season a chance. That's why I've given the whole first season a chance. Star Wars Resistance was renewed for a second season, which should air sometime in the fall, which means this is likely to lead up to, or at least provide more and more connection to episode 8. And the more connection, the more fleshed out this story can become, I think the more chance people are going to actually like the sequel trilogy. Now, what are your thoughts? Are you excited about the Star Wars Resistance mid-season trailer? Was there stuff that you noticed that I didn't bring up? Are you someone who just can't give the sequel trilogy a chance? Leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, share. Check us out on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Visit goingnerdy.com. Join us on Discord, and let's talk about this. I love Star Wars, just like you, and I'm a huge fan, and I am looking forward to seeing where the rest of the canon goes. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, smile, stay nerdy.